Hi, today we are going to talk about such an issue that why famous. Why famous is different, and particularly famous, new famous framework is introduced and is unique due to the two main issues. First of all, it's a called mixed mode, and it is possible to combine inside inside the same coordinate space WebGl and DOM, and we will talk today about that one. And the second one, it's probably will be the probably Svetlana will explain it and use it on real application. This is like their physics engine, which is new and all this good stuff. But before it, I just want to say that a disclaimer that I'm anything but WebGl specialist. So this is like introductory and A1 lesson. Oh, Cortana is listening. No, stop listening. About WebGl, and I would like to just take a look at the history. What is WebGl? And you can read either Wikipedia or a lot of other resources, but briefly, why in general we need WebGl? So let's imagine that our browsers is created to present a document, and with a document object model. And suppose you need to, in addition to document, you need to use some, I don't know, image. So first solution is just using image file. Yeah, everything is fine with it. There is one problem. First of all, it's not possible to interact with this. And the second one is it doesn't provide any semantic meaning. So I mean that, yeah, it's still possible to add some alt tag and make sure that search engine will index it, but it's not enough, and it's not effective. Suppose you need to what is another solution? SVG. Yeah, wonderful. SVG was despite some differences between Internet Explorer and other browsers, but it's still with something like Raphael, it's possible to solve. But there is another issue that is coming, because in SVG you need to draw any line from one coordinate to another coordinates, and it's not so any real-time image will take a lot of space. And in addition, suppose you need to show some kind, I don't know, some kind of game, and so the like Counter-Strike, but my last game used to be Duke Nukem, and I took part in competition. It was a while ago. Yeah, it was probably 1996 or something. And to do something, to render something like this, it's not practical in SVG, because you wouldn't be able to draw all the details. And if you need to do a very simple animation with this, it would be end of your career. And suppose it's not possible to present a perspective and all this stuff. So there is some, I guess, Russian guy. He introduced some interfaces. It's called GL, and some interfaces how to present a 3D and like Unity type rendering to the web. And Famous is providing this framework. It did its very low level stuff, and so it became really, I cannot say easy, but it's still possible, for example, to use some WebGl, and in addition to inside of WebGl you can include your DOM document, and it can be it has some semantic meaning. And when I'm talking about SEO and semantic meaning, it doesn't happen right now. So if you if you, for example, create even with Angular your website, and you go to Webmaster Panel and take a look what came to Google Index, well, you will be a little bit disappointed, because even now Google doesn't run JavaScript, and we have this document. But what will well, it is a wide frame, but even if I will open iframe, I wouldn't see there much except one this famous element. All this text will not be hidden because it is rendered with JavaScript. But still, it will happen tomorrow, and by tomorrow I mean in a couple of years. And with Famous, you can combine these two elements, and it is possible to create in the same coordinate spaces two technique, and you can create this great widget, and Google will be index it and takes this text. And for now, this is WebGl, what happened, and this is, I will explain how to build it. It's one of the way how to implement it, and I'll explain why we choose it this way. Okay, enough talking. Let's take a look on the code. So first of all, about a real-time problem that we're trying to solve. This is a radio widget, and if you watch previous lessons, it is on the website, and it is here. This is another. This is probably Svetlana will show up how to create this animation, but this is in another tutorial. So what happens, this is a newspaper, and this radio is active on it lives, it happens, broadcasting on Sunday starting at 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. and when it has an archive all the broadcast, but when it is live, there's a need some kind to attract user attention to this radio, that he can actually click on the live and open and listen radio live. And well, we just wanted to get some kind of nice and unusual animation, and we found that if you take a look here, this radio, this orbiting is, well, in my opinion, it's a great solution for attracting user attention in addition to this live. And first of all, what I would, if you take a look on WebGl examples on Famous, or if you will go to their YouTube channel and take a look on their something like show up, that's a lot of pretty astonishing and pretty visually appealing stuff, but when you come to the real application, it start to be pretty difficult to find yeah, its usage. It's because any animation has to provide some kind of semantic enhancement, or it should be logical, because you know that some introductory, especially I remember when Microsoft Office and PowerPoint show up, that whenever, and at that time I used to work in university, and whenever you come to any presentation, it was Jesus. It was animation after animation after animation, and instead of enhancing the report, they just put it to the back burner. And like my first advice, that yeah, that's a lot of pretty stuff, but it has to be some kind of one logical issue. Don't add animation for the sake of animation itself, because it has to be some kind to help and use some functionality. If you don't see this happen, don't include it, because it will distract user from the point you want to convey. So this is a first advice when we are not touching code yet. Okay, enough talking. So this is a solution, and in my opinion, in this case, and I think that it would be a great opportunity to show how it is possible still using framework, and it still will be possible to use engine, pure engine, and it's very easy to attach. So as you remember from Svetlana's lessons, that we split our application by different modules, different components, and I again want to repeat that it is very important. And if you want your code to be manageable, and if you want to create some kind of real-time application, always split. Whenever you have some kind of logically separated part of the code, split it. So from our widget, we have a root, and we have front side and a back side, and this happened on the front side. So so inside the front side, we make an inclusion of I call it famous engine. It probably should be famous, but that's all right. And you include this file at the same way you include your setting or CSC by using includes. So Svetlana explains in details how it works. And if we open famous engine, so you can see that this is a pure famous engine. And in my opinion, when you are implementing some kind of ordinal stuff, something like a scroll viewer or any include DOM elements, use framework instead. But for DOM, it just I don't know. It's not much for me. The main I cannot see drawback, but there is not much material where to see examples, and where I can learn any trick with a framework, and especially with WebGl and mixed mode, it's much more rich library with pure engine. But it's very easy to include. I'm sure that there is a way to do the same inside a framework, but then I need to open a framework to see how they did it, and it will be much easier to take a look on their engine and well, learn how they do it. So first of all, inside any file we have an access to global object famous framework, and we can attach our render node, and this render node is managed by engine itself by giving a command framework attach, and then we provide this element to which we want to attach this element. And if you take a look on, so we can close this one, close this one, close this one, and settings, and so I want to open HTML file. Here, so I have a node inside my tree. I have a node. I provided an ID sphere, and when inside file I want to attach a node that is managed by a pure famous engine, I just provide its ID. Then I add render node, and render node, this is this node itself, and from this moment I can use pure engine. The only issue that instead of require, I'm using like famous framework, famous engine. First of all, we need to include mesh, and mesh, this is inside WebGl. Mesh is the most basic element. It's like analogous with DOM. It's a div, and like I said, why there is a use to using GL, because by using like 3D Unity type principle of 3D animation, it's much more easier to show element inside element inside your browser. Because, for example, like in this case, in order to build sphere, you don't need to draw each point. So it's enough to know its radius and coordinate. So it will be 2πr to the second. Yeah, it's just radius and you know, the p and to the and you can. Well, you can draw it, and so you need only its position, you need radius, and that's it. And definitely, you need color, or in this case, material. So you need to cover this image with something. It's possible to include lights, and this is probably will be shown in our next tutorials. But these two elements, these two features you need to provide. So first of all, what kind of figure it's like, whether it is a sphere, whether it is a box, and the whole list you can find on their engine. There is some kind of very weird forms, but you can experiment with this. In this case, we provide a sphere, and we also provide a material. And with material, we use image itself like a material. So you can imagine some kind of, this is a complete analogous of, for example, football ball. And if you cut it and if you put it on flat surface, you should see this one. So you can see that we take the sphere and wrap it like in image. So there is if you need, for example, to use any WebGl principle, you cannot use DOM directly. But if you need any animation behind this radio, it is a DOM. So this radio text is indexable and searchable, but when we animate it, it is an image. But end user doesn't know it. And we wrap this mesh, and in this case we doesn't do anything. All animation happens inside the framework, and you can see that this is like seamless integration of framework in an engine. And inside the framework, inside the life cycles events, what I did that on a post load I include famous node, and I added a component that will be responsible for animation, and on update I inject time, and there are two animations. The first animation happens, it is here with live button, and this animation is running on the each tick. I don't need to do it this opacity, so I check that if it passes 800 milliseconds, only then I change value of live opacity. So it will be some kind of animation, and I provided duration. That's why you can see not this blinking. But on each engine tick, and it happens once in I guess 16 milliseconds. So it's pretty fast. It's a little bit more than 60 frames per second. I change it value, which is rotation live, and I change it by using time. And this is rotation live. If you open settings, so it starts from 0, and then it starts to be orbiting it. And if we take a look on the same sphere here inside the behavior, this is for clay, but I need inside behavior. Here it is. So I inject this rotation leaf from my states, and then I rotate it by y-axis and by z-axis, and that's why it has some kind of this animation, and it is at the same time rotating over two dimensions. That's it. This is like one of the way to use WebGl in your application. It has a lot of advantages. So first of all, it's much more effective, because it used to be with a previous engine that you cannot include more than 500 of surfaces. This is how they used to call the famous element. With WebGl, you don't have this constraint, and literally until you exceed some 10,000, that's fine. And at the same, in addition, that you can do much more astonishing animation, and you can do it, for example, with WebGl. When I'm working with WebGl, I don't know, maybe this is my preferences, but I'm more comfortable to do it inside of engine. It's very easy to combine, so you just inject this file and famous framework attach, and you provide the element, and that's it. And since this moment, you can do this animation using their engine. And it is possible, and maybe it's more logical it will be to animate it here, but I choose it as with framework. And the second one, the second advice that I want to repeat, that it is possible, like Famous provide you with a tool, but do it wisely. Create animation when it is made some kind of semantic contribution to your application. Don't use it for the sake of animation itself, because well, you would be disappointed by your user reaction. Thank you, and goodbye.